So dobrý večer, good evening. My name is Kateřina Svitková and I'm delighted to welcome you here at the third edition of the Women in Focus series. The program introduces inspiring female personalities and accomplished professional journeys and aims to unveil through dialogue and open discussion intricacies of various fields as we had here in the past from ballet, art, and this evening looking in the world of sport. So our guest speakers will also address the challenges that they encounter and share practices that led to their successful and rewarding careers. So I'm delighted that today our guest is a football player, Kateřina Svitková, which I would like to welcome. I can see a very football fans here, it's great. So I suppose there is really no need to introduce Kateřina to you. But nevertheless, let me just highlight a few accomplishments. So despite her very relatively short sporting career, it's very worthwhile mentioning. So Kateřina, she's been named or voted 4 times the best Czech football player. She also plays for Slavia Prague. She's known as the another club from Sparta Prague, so it's a Slavia. And of course, she's a solid member of the Czech national team. So in the year 2000, Kateřina had moved to the Women's Super League, where she played initially for West Ham United. And since the last year, Kateřina is part of the iconic football club Chelsea, where she has won this year's Football Cup. And I don't want to jingle it, but it's very close to the double. If you're following the football, you might know that they are just one match away, also winning the Super League. So just in terms of the evening, so then the floor now to Kateřina for opening discussion. She's going to share with us some of the slides and presentations, but then also like to welcome to the podium a football expert, a professional football agent, Miroslava Fousková, who is with us from Prague. So there will be a dialogue between these two. And then we will follow, of course, with the Q&A with all of you, and I'm sure that afterwards you might have a chance to take some of the photos. So I'm sure Kateřina will be happy to sign them, some of the football memorabilia or the pictures afterwards. So thank you for joining us, and I'd like to turn the mic now to Kateřina.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it. Firstly, I would like to apologize. I never done it a presentation in English, so hopefully it will go really good and you will understand me. And yeah, so today I would like to tell you my story so far, and hopefully you will like it. And yeah, let's go. So I started playing football when I was 7 years old. It was because I kicked everything what I had in my house. So obviously my parents took me to play football in my country. So I went to FC Trapezen, where I played with the girls, but I also played with the boys because I went to ground school, where I was only one woman in a men's team. And sometimes it was really hard times, but after overall I learned so many skills and so many really useful life lessons. So I really appreciated that I could be there. And so here are some photos when I was a kid. Here's with my mom. My parents always support me and went all over of the world with me. It doesn't matter if we played in Czech Republic or in Vienna or other countries. So yeah, I think I would never be there where I am without them. This is a picture, I think it's my first picture when I played for a national team. At that time I was around 13 years old and it was under 15 national team, and I was really proud that I could wear something with a badge of a national team, and I always was so worried if I will be nominated, but almost every time I was, or actually every time, so I was so happy. This is a picture with my teammates. Actually, on the left side is Kateřina Svitková, on the right side is Barbara Butíková. I think maybe some of you will know these names because Bara plays for PSG and Teresa plays for Slavia Prague. All of us three went to Slavia and won so many titles. And on this picture, we usually played in front of a real lot of people in Czech Republic because we played between the games, men's games in the first league during the pause. So we always felt like that these people are there due to us, but obviously almost no one noticed that we were on the pitch, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. And sometimes we presented what we won because we were actually a very successful team. We won everything what we played. So this is that we won the Czech League. It was like under, I think, 8 or 9 years. Yeah, this is some of the pictures. Then after Victoria Pilsen, how I already said, I went to Slavia Prague where I also played with other my teammates from Victoria Pilsen. I met so many amazing players there, and I actually grew up to really, I think, very good person in terms of understanding how is it life, because I had around myself so many amazing people who really learned me everything what is necessary in your life. So yeah, I'm so grateful that I had this opportunity. We actually won 5 titles in 7 years in Slavia, and we also played in Champions League when we were 4 times in a quarterfinal. This is a picture of another national team, so sometimes I will just go through. You will see my few pictures. So during when I was in Slavia Prague, I went also to high school, university in Prague. So I studied while I played football, because I think in women's football it's always necessary to look after your future, and you never know how it will go, if it will be successful or no, your football career. So I think it's really important to also concentrate on other field, which I went to economics high school, economic university in Prague. So this time I played and also studied. This is the celebration of the goal in Derby against Sparta Prague. I remember this goal was that I went through all the pitch, and I secured the winning goal, and also that was like for winning the title. So I really enjoyed this celebration. This is a picture when we played in Russia. It was that we got to the quarterfinal in Champions League for the first time. It was minus 14 degrees. We were so frozen, and yeah, we have so many stories from this game. It was crazy, and we couldn't even walk on the pitch because it was so frozen. But yeah, I really enjoyed it because it was a really big achievement what we did at the time. This is a picture of first title with Slavia Prague. Yeah. Obviously, I won so many trophies, like best goal scorer or best player of the season. So I really had good memories. But I always hope that one day I will win also the best Czech woman player, which it happened when I was 19 years old. That time also Peter Czech won trophy for men's football. Pavel Nedvěd, I think some of you can recognize him, the best football player ever for Czech Republic. He went to like a ceremony, the best player ever, and yeah, so it was really grateful for me. This is the poster which I wanted to show you because I have a quite good story. There is not as good advertising women football in Czech Republic like is it here in England. So we decided, or actually I decided to go in front of the public to quite a big square in Prague and give posters to other people who are walking to work and out of the work and try to invite them to our game, because otherwise they wouldn't know that we are playing. So we usually give them these posters and really hope that they will come to the game. So one time when we played against Bayern Munich, we had the biggest attendance in women Czech football, which was over 8,000 people, which is actually a really good number for Czech Republic. So since now I really appreciated that we actually could play in front of this amount of people. I think all my career I really enjoyed every game, and these just are pictures of so many memories which I had. Another year winning of Czech Best Football Player. So this is what I was talking about, that we played in front of so many people. But obviously here in England I'm so glad that I could be here and see how women's football grew up. It's amazing how many people can come to women's game and they really enjoy it, and for me is the thing why I actually play football. I wanted to help people to come to women's game and just switch off from work, from their life, and just enjoy this moment with us and give them joy. So this is what's I really love on football, why I play. This is a few videos from the game against the Bayern Munich. This is where came 8,000 people to this game. Obviously Bayern Munich is a really big club in women's football, but we draw with them 1-1 in the first leg of quarterfinal in the Champions League. This is probably my the biggest goal which I ever scored. This goal got nominated in the UEFA Goal of the Year, so I was competing against Messi, Ronaldo. You can guess who won.
No, the UEFA.
But how you can see left on the bottom, there is like that I was in enquête in news in Czech Republic, which I always wanted to be since I was a kid. There is like the best for the end, so I was there, so it was another my dream come true. A few photos. Here it's like how I said that it's really important to take care of your future, so I graduated engineer title in this economic university in Prague. It wasn't the easiest thing which I ever have done, but I'm so proud of myself that I did it, and I really hope so that one day I will use it, because it learned me also another few things which I think are very important, and I also showed that it's possible that you can play and also studied. Was first grade of like a bachelor degree. I got it in Slavia Prague, so I always went in the morning to the gym, then went to the school, then came to the session, and then get home, wash my clothes to be ready for another day, do some homeworks, and then every day like this for 3 years. Then I went to West Ham, so I did the magister degree in distance, which it was quite challenging because obviously since I moved to West Ham it was completely different world for me because in Czech Republic you train only 1.5 hours, but here you come to training grounds like to your normal job. So we usually come at 9 o'clock and we finished at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. So obviously it was much more time spending in football than you usually do in Czech Republic. You are there honestly only 1.5 hours and you go home. So it was really harder for me, but I never give up. I am a person who never give up. So even when it was so many times really hard moments in my life that I really struggled, that I was really tired. Obviously the distance here in London is not the best, so I also traveled quite a lot, like 1 hour there, 1 hour back. Sometimes I also had to, because before I came to West Ham, I didn't know how to speak in English. I didn't speak at all, I didn't understand anything. So for me, even though that I had English in school, honestly I didn't learn anything, unfortunately. So it was really hard for me to come to a new club, new country, and didn't know what to do. The most difficult thing for me was that I came in COVID, so everything was closed. Everything what I had to order or even realize that I have to obviously find a flat where I can be. 1 week before I had to move to West Ham, I didn't know where I will live, so there was quite challenging part in my life since I came to England, that I didn't know where I will get the furniture, where I will get actually food, because obviously it was COVID, so I had to be in quarantine and no one could deliver me some food because I didn't even have an English number. And I couldn't get English number because I didn't have English account, and I couldn't get English account because I didn't have English number. So it was like this circle which I honestly thought it never ends. And also a little bit what I wanted to tell you, that actually it's not easy, like a Czech woman football player want to go to abroad, it's not easy. I literally dream of it since I was 7 years old. When I started playing football, I always thought that this is the thing what I will do in my life. I will be a professional football player. And obviously my school friends, school friends, I don't know how to say it otherwise. So they never believed in me. They always thought that women's football never be the game where you can actually, it can be your job. So I always had to go through it and always prove them that even if it's not the professional sport in the Czech Republic, I will go somewhere where it is. So I did everything for it, and even though it sometimes didn't work out how I wanted, because actually one time I already was in West Ham before, but there were so many complications that also the club that time wasn't professional, so I had to go back to Slavia for a little bit and then come back and find out that even though that you think that it will be now easier, there are still some always complications or some obstacles which you have to overcome, be prepared, but you only have to take the lessons from it, and you have to know that you will just get bigger, stronger, and what doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger, so you have to really work for it and you will get through this stuff. So yeah, and I think even though that I had to left this club, which was really actually painful for me because I played there 7 years, so it's quite a long time. I think it was the best part or even best decision which I've done to went to West Ham. It was really a big jump because, how I already said, it's completely different, but also here are so many other really good players, and the standard of the game is so high here and everything is much faster. Obviously I'm the player who really needs to talk with your teammates, so when I came here and I didn't understand English and everyone was talking to me, I didn't know what to do. I actually didn't even know how to pass the ball or what they wanted or anything. So yeah, the beginning was hard. So how I said that I was driving a long time I had to go to school to learn English. So I had to go to evening English school, which was another 1 hour since my home. I was there 3 hours until 9 o'clock evening, and then 1 hour go back, and then again the next day at 9 o'clock have to be back. So yeah, sometimes it was quite hard, but when you do what you love, you can do whatever you want. And I was really happy that I could be in this club because I think it's a really good club. They actually really good take care of their players. They have amazing training grounds. They actually have 3 training grounds, which one of these is for young players, another one is obviously for men's team, and the third one is for under 21 men's team and 18 for women. So we were in this training ground, and we have our own obviously changing room, where we had, like, for example, hot and cold bath. Then we had a gym. Then we had 3 pitches. Then we had obviously physio room, and also we could use it that we could come to our kitchen and have a breakfast and then a lunch. So these things really get a little bit easier when the club puts these things together, and you actually doesn't have to think about these stuff. How is it about the food? Also, what was another difference between the Czech Republic and England was that you didn't have to wash your clothes. It actually doesn't feel like it's something, but honestly, you really need to wash a lot of clothes every day, every morning, every night, and it really gets your life easier. Yeah, this is my whole family. How I said, I would never be there where I am now without them. And yeah, my grandparents, they always helped me when my parents didn't know how to do it or they needed help. So yeah, I'm really grateful. They actually, when we played in quarterfinal against Lyon, it was our first quarterfinal in Champions League. They drive to Lyon, which was like, I think it's around 9 hours, and they watch the game and then just drive back. So yeah, they are amazing. They are my best supporters. So in West Ham, I really learned how this league is tough, how it's physical, but also how there are so many good players. So you really need to push yourself and do whatever you want to achieve what you want. And since I came to West Ham, even though that I really like it there, I always wanted to play for Chelsea. It was my dream to play for this club. So every game, every session, I had it in my head that I wanted to be the better and better to get a chance to play for that club. So, but I never forget how the journey went. It wasn't the easiest one. Obviously, we lost the coach who brought me here to England. So then the new coach actually didn't like me at all at the beginning. So you had to approve that you are the player who needs to be in the first 11 and who wants to do everything for his team. So it wasn't the easiest one, but again, then you get like the fruits from the life. So here, for example, we played in Old Trafford. Again, another dream which came true for me, because obviously these stadiums which are in England, you really want to play on these stadiums since you are kids. It's England, obviously. Yeah. With West Ham, my second year in West Ham, we had quite successful season. We finished in 6th place, which was the best place in their history. We also played semi-final of FA Cup against Man City and also semi-final of Continental Cup against Chelsea. Or quarter-final. I don't know. Sorry. But yeah, it was definitely the successful season for West Ham, and I really enjoyed this road. Unfortunately, with the national team, we still don't play in a final tournament. This is the picture against Switzerland where we played playoff to get to Euros. It was first game. It was 1-1, which I scored first goal, or that goal. It was from the penalty. But second game finished again 1-1, and unfortunately on penalties we didn't get through it. I was the one who didn't score the last one, so I honestly have it every day in my eyes. But again, it's just you can only learn from the mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, and you never know where will be your next step. Then I got injured in West Ham, which was my first serious injury. I was quite lucky before that I never been injured for a longer period. Unfortunately, in one game in West Ham, I got torn almost all of my ligaments in my ankle, so I had to go to surgery. Then, obviously, how it is, like always, nothing is easy. So after this surgery, I found out that my body is not working with the metal which they put it inside, so they had to took it again. So then I had to go for another surgery. So it took a little bit longer than I wanted. But then this is the first game after this long injury, which took actually 5 months. And then I played for national team against Iceland. So this game didn't went well for national team, but obviously for me it was really good to be back on the pitch. It was my first full game, so I really enjoyed it, and yeah, this thing has happened. Yeah, few pictures with West Ham. Then we played obviously against Chelsea, and yeah. This is my goodbye to West Ham, but I will always have it in my heart forever, and I really enjoyed this journey, and I met so many friends, which I think I will have it for my life, so I'm so grateful for this. And then my dream came true. Obviously this is the thing which, how I already said, I really want it, and I did everything for it. Even though actually I already had a few offers that I could come to Chelsea, but that time I still had a contract with Slavia, so it didn't work out. Then I actually thought that it would never happen. But again, if you really believe something, it does come, and I'm just another one who proves it. Because yeah, do everything 100%, and I'm sure that the sky will bring it too. So I was so happy.
Yay!
Obviously, Chelsea is one of the biggest clubs for me. It's the biggest club in the world, and they have the best players, which you can just imagine. And I'm so glad that I can train with them. They teach me so many things, and the level is so high, and every session is so intense that it's definitely what I thought that it will be. And yeah, always I'm so grateful that I can play for this club. Yeah, this is the picture from the session when we had in Stamford Bridge. Yeah, I was so happy that I could train on that pitch. It's an amazing stadium, and I think I will have this moment forever. This is the game when I firstly start for Chelsea. It was obviously against West Ham, so a little bit ironic. I think that my manager wanted to have it like this. But obviously I was so happy that yeah, I could play for this amazing club, so my debut. And yeah, we won, and I got 1 assist, so I was so happy that night. This was my dream, to celebrate a goal like this. I remember when I came to Slavia Prague, I asked our manager if we can have our name on the shirts, because at that time no one has it. And the manager was like, yeah, if you will play Champions League and we will get like to quarterfinal, then we will get it. So I did everything to do it, so I got it. And I obviously also another my dream was to be in a FIFA, which some of you maybe know that like the whole Super League is in FIFA 23, so there are these celebrations also, and I'm so happy that it happened. This is a celebration of my first goal. It was actually in my second game when I played for Chelsea. It was in a Champions League. Yeah, this competition is the best. Honestly, it's nothing better than to play against other country teams, and it's always amazing feeling when you listen the music of the Champions League. And yeah, I really wish that one day I will win this competition. Yeah, this is the photo after the game against Tottenham, where we played in Stamford Bridge. So another dream that I could play on this stadium, and yeah, it was a great day when we beat Tottenham. Yeah, like how I said before, there is one thing how we played in Champions League with Slavia against Bayern, how you saw the goal from this game. So I already said that there were 8,000 people, and then so we played that game on Thursday, and then we had another league game on a Saturday. And so first game, or like on Thursday we played in front of 8,000 people, and on Saturday came 2 people. Honestly, there were only 2 people. So it's big jump, and obviously it's not easy for you like a player that you can see that actually almost no one matter if you are playing good or no, or how this team plays. So I really appreciate every single one fan of women football here in England, because it's amazing how they are support their teams. And yeah, I'm so happy that I'm here in Chelsea, because Chelsea honestly have really good fans. I think the best in the world, and yeah, I appreciate every game. Another picture from another goal in Champions League, and I still can't believe it that I'm in the same team like this here, Sam Kerr or Pernilla Harder or other amazing players. So yeah, I honestly enjoy every minute, every second on the pitch with them. Yeah, how maybe everyone know, hopefully everyone knows, we won a FA Cup in front of 77,000 people, which is a record, and yeah, it was amazing. I had goosebumps. Goosebumps, sorry. Yeah, because yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, I'm speechless, because when I remember this day, it will be always with me. And again, it's something that I wanted to win, and it happened. So I'm so happy that I could be in this team and could win it. Obviously, however, now Prince William gave me. Is Prince alright? Yeah, sorry. I'm still a little bit confused with it. Yeah. Yeah, he gave us the medals, and yeah, it was great day, and how I said, good memories. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was such a deep dive, into your career and sharing so many personal and professional stories. So maybe which brought us to so many questions, I'm sure. But maybe before we go to the questions, so let's also invite Miroslava Fuskova to join us here for the initial discussion, and then we will open to the Q&A.
Good evening, everyone. So to introduce a little bit myself, now I'm Kateřina's agent, or basically I work for the agency that is representing her. But we met many years ago. Actually, I remember her playing maybe when she was like 14 or something like that, because I was working for Slavia Prague and we were scouting her for a really, really long time. And finally, when she was 17, we finally made a transfer to Slavia, which I will be always grateful for, because actually before she came to the club was waiting like 9 years for the title. We were always beaten by Sparta, and then she came and we made it like 4 times or 5 times in a row. So it was really, really amazing, really amazing memories for her arrival to the club.
Can I a little bit step it up? I have a quite a fun story to this. Like, Slavia wants me maybe when I was like 14 years old, but at the time I still could train with the boys, which I thought that is the best way, or my parents thought is the best way to learn and grow in football. So I stayed in Pilsen, but then I actually lost this connection with men's football because they didn't want me to go with a little bit older men. So I could train with only 15 old players, but I couldn't go higher. So at that time I had to decide if I wanted to stay again with the 15 years old, but at the time I was already 17 years old, or to have to do some move. So at the beginning my dream, or I thought that it would be a little bit easier to get out from the country, so I thought I will go like to Germany or another country straight away, but actually life is not easy as she thinks that it is. So obviously no one was waiting for me at the time, so I then think that I made the best decision to went to Slavia Prague. So even though that I knew that they want me, I didn't get any offer at that time. So when we played against them in our league, in the halftime I went to the coach and asked him if they still want me, that I'm ready to go. So obviously I probably made their day that time, and yeah, they said that they are still interested. So
yeah, we said like, hey, okay. No, but really, like, I know that you might not be like interested in the women's game in Czech Republic that much, but really, if you go back there to the players that are the same age as she is, she was like the best of the best, and I think she is still the best of the best. So yeah, we were quite happy, and but actually while I was watching your presentation, you missed one, I think, really interesting part, when because as she mentioned, it's really important to study. And actually, due to the fact that you were studying, you were able to attend let's say the Olympic Games for the universities. I don't know how to call it in English, to be fair.
yeah, true.
Like universiade, something like that.
Yeah, so we went to South Korea with this squad, and it was another really useful moment for us. Like. Obviously, it was for the first time that I flight quite a long time, and it was obviously the hours different or time difference. And I remember that the time when we moved there or traveled there, I couldn't sleep 3 days in a row, so I was pretty bad. And then the time when we start playing this tournament against the home team, so it wasn't the best time, but it was really helpful for me, because then obviously with Chelsea, for example, we played in pre-season in America, so it's a little bit different when you travel to America than to South Korea, but still it's a time difference, so I was a little bit prepared for it, and yeah, it was good to have this opportunity to play. We played there against Barcelona and other amazing countries, so it was really good actually. True memory.
I remember everything.
Even though that you wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't there. Yeah, I wasn't in the squad. Yeah.
But this is just shows how America knows almost everything in women's Czech football. Like she is the one who really is passionate about, and she does everything with her heart about the women's football. So this is how I'm actually glad that I'm in their agency, because I know that she will do everything for me, like the best things which I need. So I'm really grateful that I can be in their agency and under her. And I just wanted to ask you how we would compare, or how is it actually hard to get somebody abroad, or how many players are abroad from Czech Republic to let people know?
So basically, as the agents, they started to know this women's football, let's say maybe 2 years ago, maybe 1 year ago in Czech Republic. So it's not really like a field that they are passionate about, because then they don't feel, most of them, they don't see the growth of it, and they don't feel that it's good business for them. So I'm really lucky that our agency take a shot on it, because I really believe that is the future in general for the business in football. And actually, to your question, to be fair, at the moment we have 4 players abroad, if I'm right. So it's Kateřina here, Lara Botíková, as you mentioned, in PSG. Then 2 players in Spain, one in Atletico Madrid and one in Sevilla, and we have 1 player in Italy. So it's not that much, even though I believe that our national team has really big potential. But the thing is that maybe also the mentality is kind of different maybe to other countries, because sometimes I face the challenge of even convince the player to move abroad, because yeah, as Kachi said, they spend, let's say, 2 hours in the training ground in Czech Republic, and they still get paid for it, and they still can have their jobs, be with their family, stay with their friends. So actually most of them are not willing to be that successful as, for example, Kateřina. So sometimes they say, no, I'm alright here. So then I think that we need to focus more on the youth, and to show them that you can really have a career in the football if you really do your 100%, as Kateřina meant today. So that's one of the challenges that I have, but in general also the market is not really focused on Czech players in general, because as it was already said, we never made it to the final tournament, which I think is the biggest problem to, let's say, showcase the player, in the meaning that we are missing the biggest events for the game. So I think, yeah, that's the biggest part of it.
So this is just like shows how I really appreciate it that I am where I am now, because I actually never thought that I can make it like this. So yeah.
Well, you worked really hard for it. That's the truth. I remember when she already knew that she will go abroad after this last season in Slavia, and she had like a personal coach. She had a session in the morning, then a session with the team, and then after the session another session to get ready for England. So I think that you, even in the men's football, you don't find so much players passionate about it, and they like with the drive to achieve something.
Yeah, but also what everyone told me, and it's true, that you also should recover well, and it's really important part, which obviously it's not the easiest way how to do it in Czech Republic, because there are no any facilities for it like it's here. For example, in Chelsea we can use a swimming pool in a building, which is really helpful for us, and we are so grateful that we can use it, and other stuff. And obviously we have so many physios and so many other people who take care of us, so it's now much easier to take care of yourself and do your 100% in the session. So yeah, this is really, really grateful.
I think that I will leave the floor for the questions, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe I'll kick it off. So thank you very much. It's quite interesting sharing sharing the insights of the professional, semi-professional environment in Czech Republic, and then coming here to fully professional environment. I think one of the questions we were discussing the difference between the playing football in Slavia and then here. But of course, as you are in Chelsea, everyone knows the Chelsea home club of the Czech. So I'm just curious if there is any interaction between the men's club and your women's club, where you meet each other, or not really, that you're going to separate ways, to different pitches, to different physios, etc. Or there are some opportunities that you are meeting your kind of male colleagues.
Honestly, even in West Ham, you don't have many opportunities to be with a men's team, but unfortunately, when I got injured here in Chelsea, I had to spend so much time in rehabilitation, so I used a lot the swimming pool and other stuff in men's building, so I had a chance to be with other injured players in Chelsea. So, for example, what's maybe some of you know that my favorite current player in Chelsea is Mason Mount. So I had this moment that I shared Liverpool with him, so I never forget it.
So it seems like another dream's coming through, right? So I wish you don't spend that much time on the videos anymore, more on the pitch. And maybe before I'm gonna turn it to you for the questions, just a small one. I noticed that you play with the number 10 in Slavia, perhaps in West Ham. Now we get number 13. How does it fit with you? You know, how does it feel? Are you aiming to get the number 10 back at Chelsea?
Obviously, now in Chelsea, number 10 has Lauren James, obviously big star of the team, so I can't compare with her. So obviously, I had to took another number which was left. So I actually didn't have any more relation with other numbers. So I just took this number because my stepfather he believes that this number can bring you luck. Not so far, but we will see maybe in the future.
Oh, perhaps the hot tube pitch already mentioned the jacuzzi. All right, so we'll open it for any questions you might have for Kateřina or Miroslava. Do we have any question? You can just raise your hand. Yeah.
Thank you. That was a really interesting talk, and I'm a Chelsea fan, so fingers crossed for Saturday. I also run a grassroots women's team in London, so non-professional people that are just starting out in their football journey, want to play for fun, but we're trying to encourage more people to get involved, either to play or to watch. What would your tips be, I suppose, A, to get people to play, but also to get people to come along and really want to invest and enjoy the game a bit more?
I think the hardest part can be to bring them, because obviously if you bring them, then they can see how we are passionate about and how we love this game. It's not about the money or about other things. We just love the football. We just love to play it. So then other people can see it and can fall in love with the football as we are. So I think then if they will see it, then they will probably want to play. And as I was a child, why I dreamed to play in Chelsea. It was also obviously due to Peter Cech and how that time Chelsea was successful. But another thing was that I played Arsenal and Chelsea in a Eurosport channel. I don't obviously know what was the game, if it was a FA Cup or it was the league game. I don't even know how it gets to my television, but I saw it and I was like, oh, I really want to play for this team, to be in a television, to be seen how I play football. So when you see it like a child, then you probably will want to play this game. So obviously you need to see it. So, but to be honest, I think here in England you are doing it really well, and it's really growing. I think it's the most growing sport, the fastest. Thank you. The fastest women's sport in the growing. So I think it has very good potential, and in a few other years it will get even more bigger.
Thank you so much, that was really amazing to listen to. It's really cool to hear that there are 4 or 5 Czech players playing abroad now, but I just wondered if that makes training in the national camp difficult because you have different experiences, or are you able to influence the kind of progression of the game in Czech Republic?
I have to say, before I went abroad, then we had Lucy Svitková in Bayern Munich at the time, and she always brought to the team like calmness, but also intensity, and also like skillness. Is it word? Skills. Sorry. Yeah, it's completely different level where you are playing abroad and then in Czech Republic. So you can notice in the sessions who plays abroad and who plays in domestic league. So, and obviously when now we are 5-6 players who are playing abroad, then we can push other, and also sometimes I think motivates other players that then they probably wanted to go also abroad when we are telling them how is it good there or how we improve in abroad. So I think it's beneficial, and you can even see in our results, because how we mentioned before, it wasn't that everyone or wanted to play abroad or played abroad. That time was only Slavia Prague, and we actually didn't play well against big teams. Now we played again USA, which is World Cup winner, and we draw against them. Obviously we played here in Brighton against England, we draw against them. We played against Canada, who are Olympic winners, we again draw against them. But still we don't beat them, but it's another step. But before we lost these games, now we are drawing them, so I think definitely Czech football is growing also and getting better, and hopefully after a few years we will get to the final tournament.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
I'm curious to know, how many kick-ups can you do?
Good question.
Good question. When I was at your age, we had like a competitions in a men's team. We usually did in the end of the season, like how many heads do you can do, or this. What is that? Kicks. You said kicks. Kicks cups. Kick-ups. Oh, sorry. Kick-ups. So we had so many these like challenges, and that time I think I did around 600, 700.
Oh my god. Definitely 100 years.
Maybe like 130 heads or something like this. So yeah, I love football, and I did a lot of this stuff. So yeah.
It's definitely 3 hours.
Hi, Kateřina.
Hello.
Yeah, what was the feeling like when you scored against Vladimir?
Yeah, I think again the feeling that it's happening. I couldn't believe it, and it's just what I dreamed of. And yeah, I think that time I was the happiest person in the world.
Hi, Kateřina.
Hello.
Hello. I do have a question for you, and really thought I want to ask this. What was like moving to Chelsea from West Ham? As you said, it was a dream move for you when you were like little.
Yes, it was, and I never I always tell the others if they ask me what is my like a dream and stuff like this, and I always said it. Yeah, I really want to play in Chelsea, and yeah, it's just amazing that I could move there, and yeah, I can be here.
Well, I've seen you made a right move because we love seeing your name out loud at Kings Meadow, especially winning the FA Cup. It's really extraordinary, is it?
Yeah, it is. It's yeah. I'm speechless because honestly this is what I dream of, and Chelsea is a big club and they want to win everything, but it doesn't mean that it will be like this. So obviously you have to do everything for it, and the sessions are really hard and everyone works for it, and yeah, we are one team. It's the teammates are amazing, so we really push each other and we really enjoy the road where we are, the journey, and yeah, then obviously winning these trophies is really good.
There will be more to come.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Here you go.
Hiya, good luck for Saturday as a Chelsea fan.
Hi.
My work is in part of my work is in the medical field, so I find it fascinating that Emma Hayes does the training according to every player's menstrual cycle. Could you talk a bit more about the training aspect, coaching, physiotherapy, and how that sort of helps your recovery between matches?
Yeah, they have a completely different approach than I was used to in West Ham, and they really wanted to cover every area in women's body and in women's football, because obviously everything has is common, and yeah, so we obviously have to report our menstrual cycle, and also every morning we have to say what we feel and how we feel, and they then decided if we are prepared for the session or not. So it doesn't matter if you like it or no, then they just tell you that due to this reason you shouldn't have a normal session, you should be just in a gym, for example, or have just recovery. And they have so many studies, they did so many studies, so they know what to talk about, so you just have to believe in it. And actually I think that if you look at it, how many games we played, yeah, the injuries are not too bad, so I think they definitely do it right.
Thanks.
What is your favourite team that you played against and why?
Good question. I'm the person who really likes big challenges, so I guess it was Lyon. So I could play against them, how I already said, for Slavia Prague. I actually scored against them my first Champions League goal, so it doesn't matter that we lost 9-1, but but obviously Lyon is also an amazing club. They won so many trophies, so they are really a huge club in women's football, so it was really good. But obviously the more sweeter was when we beat them now in Champions League, and yeah, I really enjoyed it too.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The question I'd like to ask is that did one realise how big of a significance of England winning the Euros was to seeing the crowd going from next to nothing to really big crowds and really big stadiums in this country?
Yeah, definitely. Like, obviously, I'll have it a little bit. I have it a little bit distorted because obviously now after Euros I moved to Chelsea, so obviously now I have so much more fans in the team than I had it in West Ham. Unfortunately, their promotion of the games and of the team wasn't as good as in Chelsea. Like it's amazing how Chelsea managed to provide everything what what this team needs. It doesn't matter if it's promotion, the games, or the players, or future events, what we are doing like a team. But in West Ham wasn't like this, so we didn't have many fans in the stadium, so I really appreciate it that in Chelsea we have it. But now how we played in West Ham, it was much more people than it was when I played for West Ham, so I guess it also had impact even for West Ham, even though they don't have as good promotion as is in the Chelsea. But yeah, I think because this game again it was in television, so much more people could see it, but mostly the people came to the games and they saw it. How I already mentioned, that we really put our hearts into the game. And I think it's also a little bit different atmosphere in the stadiums than in men's football. So I guess for the little bit different part of fans of football is actually better, that they can bring their children and they can really enjoy this atmosphere and this game. So I hope that it will continue, and I guess also obviously it helped because even last season it was already in the TV, the Super League. So I guess when now it was a little bit bigger, it was most games in the television, and I hope so that next season it could be even bigger. So it can also help, but the most, I think, the effect it can be that we are playing in the biggest stadiums. So obviously then the people want to come because they rather come to the big stadium than the small stadiums. Nevertheless, the King's Meadow is amazing. So.
And secondly, do you think if the Czech Republic were to pass the group stages of the Euro first game and then to pass the group stage, do you think the women's game would be more popular there?
In Czech Republic, it will be more popular, but not as popular like is it here. Definitely not at all, because obviously, like, unfortunately, we are not a nation only for football. We also have ice hockey, so everyone watch the World Cup and this stuff. So obviously, then there are less people, less fans for football, obviously, than for women's football. But yeah, it can help. But it's the thing, like, you need support from other association. So you need to put the money to grow the football, and then you can get the results, which it happened here in England. So this is why they are where they are, because they encouraged to have first professional women football league, and so they had to put the money into the women football, and then like a result they got these Europe champions, which is amazing. And yeah, again, if you put something, then you can get it. If you don't put it like it is in Czech Republic, then you probably won't get it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, Kateřina.
Hello.
Firstly, thank you for your presentation. Your story, your journey is really inspirational. Couple of questions. I'm about to begin my first year of managing a local women's amateur football team,
Nice.
Grenfell Athletic. So I'm just wondering if you've got any advice for me.
Oh. Obviously, I'm not a coach. But
I'm not either.
Okay, so I'm more coach than you because I already coach under-8 team in the Czech Republic in Slavia Prague, where I actually had the boy of Pavel Horvat. So maybe some of you know him. So I think you have to be patient with them, give your love, and yeah, always support them. And I think I don't think so that this is here in England, but in Czech Republic they do mistake that sometimes they don't encourage enough the players to do what they are good in it or what they are believe in it. Because what I read article about the Messi that he at the some part of his when he was around 7 years old, for example, he didn't pass through 3 players at all. But the coach supported him and he knew that he can do it, so he just let him to learn it. So if you let the players learn it, then they will get amazing players. So just encourage the players all the time and maybe take them to women's football.
Yeah, a lot of them do. So our team is a women's team, so it's kind of
perfect.
age 18 up to 30. So a lot of them have been involved in football for a long time. The second part of my question is, I'm sure you're very busy, but would you be willing at all to come and meet our players? I'm sure they'd love to have you at a training session.
What days, sorry?
What days? So we're on our break right now. We're going to start pre-season on the 16th of July, and we train on a Wednesdays, Wednesday evenings, 7 till 9.
Okay, yeah, I think definitely we can find out some dates.
Yeah?
Where you can
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Everything you said so far is super interesting. I had one question about where you see yourself in football in the future, maybe after when you retire in the future. You seem to have a lot of ideas about kind of improving the Czech women's game. I don't know if that's where you see yourself kind of in that sort of role in the future, or have you thought about that yet? Or
I always wanted to promote Czech women's football and try to help grow, but until now I was unsuccessful always. But obviously football is my life and I can't imagine to don't have it in the rest of my life. So obviously when I will have to retire, then I wanted to do something with women's football. Or men's football, it depends. How I mentioned, I have an economic degree, but it's I was going to Fakultet Informatika Statistik, so I can do a lot of analytic work, which is quite now popular in a football. So it can be also one way where I can go, but definitely I would like to get a coaching license and see. I think also it can be possible to be like a manager in one club. So yeah.
Just a question, like you were saying before about pay before, like obviously men in football get paid a lot more than women at the moment, but do you see that disparity getting smaller in years in the future? Say 5, 10 years down the track, do you think that the gap between what women are paid in football and men are paid in football being smaller?
Definitely it helps when obviously, how I mentioned, we are more in the television, so obviously then more sponsors come, so then are more money in women's football. Obviously now, even like 5 years ago, it wasn't any money for transfer, which now is quite getting high. So it is getting closer, but obviously it's still a big gap. But honestly, I never think it will get really close, how it's in men's football. It's the same with other sports. It's always women's sport. It's unfortunately there are less money than men's sport. For example, tennis. They never had the same money like a men's. So yeah, I'm not optimistic in this way, unfortunately.
I know it sounds a bit negative because I can imagine your whole life will be a career focused on football, but two things. James wanted to ask, is there a World Cup for women?
I think there is though, isn't there?
Yeah.
There is a World Cup.
There is.
Yeah.
There is. And secondly, I don't even know what age men retire. I've got a friend who's a footballer, he's played the guitar, he's played in Wembley, played in Doncaster. What age do women retire? Because I can imagine your career will then be as a coach afterwards or similar.
Yeah, it depends. I don't know if we have it like a genetic, but in Czech Republic, a lot of players have they retire at around 35, 37 years, which here in England, a lot of players at 32 years are getting retired. So it's different. Obviously, it depends on your health and if you're hungry for success. So obviously it will have a big part of the journey, and obviously other thing is when you want a child, then it can be another reason. So I have no idea. So
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the time is running by, so I have time. Let's do a final question here before final.
Good evening, Dobrý večer. I have a question as a parent of somebody who is aspiring to be a professional footballer. Sorry, she hates me. The question is more about training, because you've covered quite a lot of your childhood and your beginnings and everything in your presentation, which is wonderful. And I just wanted to ask, because she plays for one club and she trains for another club and she loves it, but I just wanted to know, she doesn't like to do any training outside of those things. She says it's boring if she's not playing football with the others. And did you do yourself, at that age? I mean, you said at 13 you started playing for national team. Did you just play football with others, or in your free time did you go and train yourself? Did you push yourself and did the extra things as well, or did you just whatever was just done was with the club?
I'm a little bit hyperactive, so I can be without movement, which is now really hard, or like not now, but when I was injured it was really hard for me. But since I was a kid, before football, I was actually doing gymnastics, so I did all the time something, but how I said that I played for men's, then I also played for men's. So like my schedule in a grand school was like coming to the school at 7 a.m., had a swimming pool or another PT, sorry. PE, sorry. And then I had a school, then I had a session with boys, and then I traveled to session with girls. So I came home at around 8 o'clock evening, and then do homework and went to sleep, and again. So every day I had it like this, but when was like off between the seasons, then I used to run. I used to also was alone on the beach and tried to work on so many things, like for example kick-ups. So yeah, and obviously when it was like, for example, Sunday and we came after the game, I took a ball at home and I kicked it whole day to the wall and back. So yeah, I'm a little bit different than others. So yeah, I did it, but obviously I think unless you really love football and you enjoy it with the team, it doesn't matter if you are doing by yourself or with somebody else, you just have to love it. And yeah, it can also come later, but yeah, and if you are good enough, you don't even need it. So.
Thank you.
No worries.
Which one? Who's the one?
Okay.
My brother wanted to ask, can you please show us your celebration when you score a goal?
Okay.
I think I'm just gonna follow up on the previous questions really with the final one, because I really would like to set some time aside maybe for some signatures and maybe for some another kicks off here. If we do 600 or maybe a little bit more. But as we have so many young and very promising footballers, maybe in general for both of you, if you can perhaps share your advice, if someone would really like to follow up your steps, what would be your advice to do,
For me, definitely you have to be really passionate about it and really give the most that you can to get to your goal. Obviously, as you are a kid, or maybe better, when you get to be a teenager, then you have other things that you want to do. But sometimes if you really want to achieve the professional level, I would say that sometimes you have to focus more on you than on these kind of things. So that's maybe my advice. And obviously, try to learn as much as you can from everyone around you. And obviously, as every sports career, you also need a bit of luck. That's the truth. But I mean, if you give 100%, you go for your goal. You always have big, bit of luck, and then you can achieve whatever you want. So.
Yeah, I think definitely what Mirka said, but also how she said you have to sacrifice a lot, especially in your childhood. But definitely it does everybody who do professional sports. So you have to be prepared for this. And how I mentioned so many times in my presentation, you never have to give up, because always, it doesn't matter when you are really good, you will always have somebody who will tell you that you are not good enough. But you have to believe in yourself and have somebody else who can cheer you, how I had my parents, and they were always with me, and it doesn't matter what happens. So yeah, these are, I think, the most things. And obviously, I think if you are not the skill is not everything. You actually have to really hard work, and then to have a bit of luck, and then you can achieve whatever you want.
Great, thank you. I think that's the best, and I really would like, on behalf of all of you, to thank Kateřina and Miroslava for this quite inspirational and fascinating evening. Thank you all for coming. Kateřina, we're going to have some time to sign some of the pictures or balls and perhaps a little bit more. So thank you for joining us, and thanks.